Now, the Home Secretary has declared there were no small boat arrivals over Christmas for the first time since they started in 2018. He's right, but there's a hint of celebration in James Cleverly's tweet. Dare I say, smug, in that since he's taken over Suella Braverman's role, there's been 10 consecutive days with no recorded migrant arrivals. Well, I said on this very show yesterday that politicians try to take credit for the weather, because that is what's actually stopping the boats. Whatever next. Well, joining us now to discuss this is Belinda de Lucy, former Brexit Party MEP. Always a pleasure and a merry festive period to you, Belinda. You know, call me Mystic Meg, but yesterday I said, here we go. There have been straight winds in the Channel for 10 straight days, over 25 miles an hour, sometimes gusts of 80 miles an hour. Even the people smugglers took Christmas off, and not because they're devout Christians, obviously. And yet here we are, James Cleverly taking credit for the weather gods.
Oh, my goodness. It's so embarrassing. I mean, voters do not like being conned. They don't like being deceived, misled, and they certainly don't like being taken for idiots. What is James Cleverly playing at? To use the weather, you know, it's quite clear it's the gale force winds, storms, you know, Dover, boats weren't leaving from Dover because of the weather. For James Cleverly to take any type of responsibility for the drop in numbers it's embarrassing. And it's a sad reflection as well on a party that's so deeply out of touch. They don't really connect with their voters. They don't understand that their voters can see clearly what is going on, and they're not willing to be fobbed off again on the constant misleading information the Conservatives hand out to the electorate like thin gruel, like breadcrumbs, to try and pull in the Stockholm Syndrome voters to vote for them once again. It's clearly the weather, and the idea that this Albanian exchange deal that they've got going to return Albanians back to Albania is something to be proud of. The UK was so late to the table with returning Albanians. Countries like Germany and Sweden had zero tolerance for Albanians for years before we did. That should have been the bare minimum. And I think the electorate's fed up of receiving the bare minimum from the Conservative Party. Do you remember, Martin, back in 2018 when Sajid Javid cut short his holiday because there were a couple of hundred boats that came to England shores during that whole year, and he cut short his holiday because there was an emergency? They have known for 5 years that they have had no control over our borders. They've done diddly squat about it. They've paid the French £500 million for nothing. That's taxpayers' money. They've known Rwanda would have taken years to go through the courts. They would have been surrounded by legal experts. They would have known that no flights would have been able to take off for years. They're doing nothing because there's no political will to stand up to the bad international outdated law we're under at the moment.
Now, Belinda, they seem to have given up the ghost. A King Canute type figure of trying to stop this tide is how Rishi Sunak is coming across. But briefly, if we could, will it get any better under Labour?
No, I think Labour will ensure there are far more safe routes, far more ways for asylum seekers to come to this country than there are now. So I think we'll see a huge number increase under Labour, even more so than we do now. I also think that they will lower the bar for who can claim asylum. I think they will accept climate refugees as well. I mean, I think it will be, of course, far worse under Labour. And the sad state of affairs for the British electorate is who do you vote for if you want to control immigration? Not the Tory party. They've proved do not trust them on immigration. Not the Labour Party. They've proved the same. This is why I'm a spokesman for Reform UK, Martin, because they're the only party out there with a serious plan to reduce immigration and to stop the boats, because we will always put country before party.
OK, Belinda Lucy, thank you for joining us on the show. Always a pleasure. Let's see what happens now. There's going to become an immigration election for sure. Who do you trust? Do you trust any of them? Do you think any of them say the right thing and mean another? They've all seemed to add more positions on this than the Kama Sutra. Let me know what you think. gbviews@gbnews.com.